Talking Points memo is something that has not been reported. Donald Trump wants to change the culture of the United States. And we're going to give you a couple of vivid examples, and then our pal Bernie Goldberg is going to come up and analyze as well. Okay, so the first play is getting liberalism out of the system. So Washington, D.C., New York City, and Los Angeles, the three most powerful centers in America and in the world, are dominated by liberal people. There's no doubt about that. There's no question. It's not debatable. Liberal people dominate those places. Trump is trying to root that out. Huge undertaking. Here's an example. On Thursday, March 27th, the president signs an executive order about the Smithsonian Institution, which is the largest museum in the world. Obviously, everybody's heard about it. It has history, it has culture, it has just about everything, okay? Trump believes that liberals run the show and they are putting propaganda into the museum. That's what he believes. I haven't been there in a while, so I can't really weigh in on it today. But I do know that 90% of executives in Washington, D.C. are liberal. I know that for sure. Here's what the executive order about the Smithsonian said, quote, "The vice president, in consultation with the assistant to the president for domestic policy, Lindsay Halligan Esquire, shall work to effectuate the policies of this order," the executive order, "through his role on the Smithsonian Board of Regents," where J.D. Vance already is. He's on the Board of Regents. "With respect to the Smithsonian Institution, its museums, education, research centers, and the National Zoo, including by seeking to remove improper ideology and such properties, shall recommend to the president any additional actions necessary to fully effectuate such policies," unquote. Well, the words improper ideology, whoa. So every leftist in the country knows what that is, and they don't like it. Roll the tape.
So the idea that he's going after the Smithsonian is absurd. I mean, it's an amazing institution, the Smithsonian. And by the way, millions of people come there every year to look at it. And the fact that he wants to shut it down or cut it and gut it like he's doing to everything is, of course, on message for him, but totally against what we should be doing.
All right. So that's Congressman from New Jersey, Guttheimer. He's a Trump hater. He's actually running for governor of New Jersey. Anyway, Trump isn't trying to shut it down. Gut it? Maybe. You know, he does not want a left-wing culture on display in the Smithsonian Institution. Doesn't. Now, I think he'd probably be okay with a right-wing culture, and that might be problematic. So I'm following a story here. The other cultural change is how the federal government spends our money. And this is obviously, you know all about Doge and Musk and all of that. That's a cultural change because what we have at the federal level now is a massive amount of money going to certain entities, many of which are left-wing. It's undeniable. Trump is trying to shut that down completely. That's cultural. No money goes into trans this or gay that or any of that stuff, right? So this, again, has got the leftists furious. Go.
Doge did not exist 2 years ago. 19-year-olds were not raiding the Treasury 2 years ago. People who have no idea with medical background have not been hauling in and creating kangaroo courts for scientists to dismiss them 2 years ago. That started happening now.
All right, so Ms. Ocasio-Cortez is a socialist. And they don't want any cuts to any spending programs. They want more spending. All right, because that's how socialists get power and keep power. Keep feeding the trough of entitlements, throwing the federal dollars into certain precincts that will vote Democratic. That's been going on now since, I don't know, Woodrow Wilson, maybe? Been going on for more than 100 years. FDR had to do what he did. I'm not making an excuse for him, but he had to get the safety nets in there to deal with the Depression. But the Democratic Party is 100%. We don't want any cuts, except if it's the Pentagon or Trump's wardrobe or something like that. No, we want more. $36 trillion debt, let's get it up to 50. Okay, because if the capitalistic system collapses, which it will if the spending doesn't get under control, then socialism can come right in. Capitalism, I can't have that. So this is a complicated thing that has not been presented to the American people. So Donald Trump is trying to reform, some say obliterate, I would probably agree with obliterate, leftist power. That's what he's trying to do. And everybody needs to understand it, because that is why he is so hated. All right? It's not like the other presidents who spoke it. Oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Trump's doing it. And his opposition, boy. Now, the final thing in all this is DEI has already had an executive order. Diversity, equity, inclusion. Now, I wrote in a message of the day, I hope you read it on BillO'Reilly.com. It's free. You got to go there every morning and get it. There's nothing wrong with diversity. Diversity is a strength because different people bring different experiences and different creativity into projects. All right? So diversity is fine with me. I run 3 corporations, and I want them to be as diverse as I can get them. But I'm not going to favor any group, skin color, or gender. I'm not, because that's equity. And that's wrong. It violates the Constitution. You don't hire, promote, you don't accept into university people on the basis of what they look like, even if there has been historical atrocities against those people. You don't do that because you're punishing someone else who may be better qualified. Okay? Now, the inclusion thing, I'm for that. I want everybody to have a fair shot at prosperity in America. Everybody. But equity, no. So, yesterday, Stephen A. Smith and I were on stage in front of 1,300 people debating equity. Go. You don't correct historical problems by creating contemporary problems. You don't correct unfairness in the past by being unfair now. All right? If you are a college, an employer, or anybody else, and you have an opportunity, and you're going to say, well, I'm not going to take the best person unless they're the right color, or they're trans, or they're this, or they're that. That's wrong. Okay, period.
All right.
Wrong.
May I retort?
Sure.
Hold on. I got him. Hold on. When you talk about DEI, you brought up race, gender, stuff like that. You glossed over the fact that I pointed out how the biggest beneficiaries were white women. My point to you, Bill
That's
O'Reilly.
gender.
Hold on, wait a minute though. My point to you is this. Who's benefiting from it? If you have a policy in place and the very people that were supposed to have an advantage because of it ain't the ones that have the advantage because of it, and that's not what you're articulating to the American public. You have now engaged in deceit. you have given the impression that if it's a black person, they were hired under DEI. If it was the Asian person, they were hired under DEI. If it's somebody other than white males,
There's
it
no
was DEI.
impression. That's what equity is.
But what I'm
equity
saying-
is favoritism toward for look. And you should be on my side because you made it on your own. You didn't make it with equity. All right. So that was, and Stephen A. and I are friends. I mean, but this is what America should be. He wasn't mad. We had a great time. All right, that's a memo. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on X. Look for @Bill O'Reilly.